crafters, and welcome to Creative Moments by G. Today we're going to take you on a journey of watercoloring. For those of you who aren't experts and just want to have a little bit of fun with watercoloring, this video is for you. But first, let's head down to the crafting table and let me share with you our thought for the day. Almost everything will work again if you unplug it for a few minutes, even you. And isn't that true? We all need to take a few moments every day for quiet reflection, whether it's taking time to pray or taking time to just think, how did we do today? What could we do better tomorrow? So let's go ahead and start our watercoloring. Now, I am not an expert by any means of watercoloring, but here is a card that my sister and I wanted to make. And so we just used our watercolor paper, and I'm going to show you the technique that we used to get this coloring on our heart. We thought we might take a stamp set that you don't normally see being used for watercolor. Now here's a stamp set called Swirly Frames, and I think you're really going to like how it turned out on a watercolor card. So the first thing you need to do is you need to stamp your watercolor papers. And we are going to do some embossing because we want to keep our watercolor area within a boundary. So we are taking the 2 circles from that stamp kit. We're using our Versamark, and we are just going to stamp this all over the page. And I'm going to make sure I really get this marked up really well. Now you can use a stamp apparatus if you want, and that way you could stamp it several times. But when my sister and I were working on this card, we found that just stamping it one time was fine. And you do want to intersect these circles. So we're going to put our bigger ones here, and then we're going to come back in with our smaller ones. We are going to get our embossing powder. I always like to watch the magic happen. And there we have the embossing completed. So now we are ready to start our watercoloring, and we're going to do one section at a time. And I have selected these 3 colors: Pumpkin Pie, Calypso Coral, and Melon Mambo. So we're going to start with the Melon Mambo. And I'm going to take my block and just put a little bit on it. I'm going to flood the area I'm going to work with, and I'm going to let the water move it around. So we're just going to put some water on this paper. And now I'm just going to pick up a little bit. And we're just going to add it and let the water move that for us. And I like how the embossing just keeps it right where it needs to be. Okay, now we're going to move on to another color. I'm going to take our Pumpkin Pie, making sure that my brush is clean. And I'm going to flood this area right here. Just take a little bit and let my water move it for me. Now I'm going to flood this big one right here, and I'm going to use our Calypso Coral. Clean it off really well. I'm going to flood this area. Really get the water on there. Now, also another good idea, if you think your paper's going to buckle, to tape it down. Okay. And we'll just continue with this process. Okay, and now we are ready. We're going to go ahead and dry this very quickly so that we don't have to wait. Okay, and here is our fun watercolor using that frame stamp set. Isn't that pretty? Now, something else that you might want to do, you might want to bring in your white iridescent shimmer and just go ahead and give that a good spray so it kind of shimmers. Let's go ahead and see what that looks like. You need to shake it really well. And now you have that shimmer effect. Can you see that? Now let's go ahead and get out our base card. We need an 8.5 by 5.5 scored at 4 1/4. And remember, all the dimensions will be listed on the blog and the materials will be listed below this video. So we wanted to go ahead and double mat it and pick up some of the color that we have in here. So we used our pumpkin pie and we used our Calypso coral. So we need to go ahead and cut this down to make it the second mat. We're going to put down our silicone mat. And we are going to go ahead and use our tape runner on this to give us that extra hold since we have watercolored on it. This is just a very quick card, but so much fun if you want to just try your hand at watercoloring and you're not an expert. Okay, going to go ahead and get this down. Okay, and now we're going to put our inside mat down so that we have a place for our message. And we are ready for our message on the front. And we are going to use this beautiful happy birthday from the You Are Amazing stamp set. And it's very hard to stamp over something you've watercolored, so that's why we've stamped it on another piece of paper, and we're going to go ahead and cut it out and then set it up on dimensionals. I like to go ahead and color just the outside of the sentiment, just so that it gives it some depth. Otherwise, it kind of blends into the card. We are going to put this right here on some dimensionals. And we're going to put this right here, right in the center of the largest circle. And we are going to use another stamp from that set, these beautiful little stars and bubbles. And we are going to do it in some pumpkin pie right in the corner. So here is our fun watercolor card. We just let the water move our color around. It is very quick, but we think a very creative way to use that stamp set. So if you have a stamp set that has some circles, here's a very quick, fun card to make. We also made the Valentine one that I showed you. We just stamped our hearts. We flooded the hearts and let the water move our ink. We also did this one. The stamp set comes with squares and rectangles. So we used those rectangles to also make a fun watercolor card. And finally, we always go back to our magnolia stamp because we love magnolias. We stamped this, we embossed it first, and then we flooded the flower, of course, brought in our pumpkin pie and our mango melody, and we just let the water move it. So much faster than using pencils or blends, and isn't that gorgeous? Well, thank you so much for sharing your time with us today. We hope that you had some fun. It was a quick card. We hope that you go out, be safe, be healthy, be creative in your crafting, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.